Alright guys, lube up because we are about to see the biggest patch in TFT, I think in history, because look at this little like preview we have here. Like they didn't even fit the items on this page because there's too many graphics to put on this little info chart here. So with that in mind, let's just dive right into this so we don't take 2 hours reviewing this patch. So first off, on the traits, despite the dark aesthetic of Reckoning, we're letting all the traits shine. Alright, I hope so too. Abomination Monstrosity base health is being buffed at 4 and 5 Abomination. So this trait, it starts at 3, then you can add in a 4th Abomination and then a 5th one. And they're giving them more health, more bonus health, and more attack damage, and more scaling attack damage. So pretty much level 1 is untouched, so 3 Abomination is untouched, and then the rest are buffed. That's pretty cool because 3 Abomination already really strong in the early mid game, and then hopefully we could play some late game with Abominations now with this little change, hopefully. Cavalier damage reduction is being increased, so I like that they're not buffing the 2 Cavalier trait and instead are buffing the later ones because 2 Cavalier is really easy to get, and Rell plus anything would be just defaulted into every comp if this was really strong. But now if you want to go deep into Cavaliers, you do get rewarded. Dragonslayer trait, champion ability power is being increased at 4 Dragonslayer. No one's really played 4 Dragonslayer. I may have seen it once. You kind of only do it if you're going for the Mordekaiser carry in the Legionnaire build, and then you just don't get Legionnaires, you get a bunch of Dragonslayers instead. That's the only time people have previously gone for 4 Dragonslayer, but maybe now it's going to be different. I hope so too. Dragonslayer trait also got buffed for non-Dragonslayer ability power after they get the first kill, so the rest of your team receives this amount of ability power. Now for Forgotten, this one's going to be the bigger change. So 6 Forgotten got nerfed, understandably so, and 9 Forgotten got buffed. So whenever I played Forgotten and I go for 9, first off, you need to reach level 9 to play it, so you pretty much are never going to be able to get there on a consistent basis because level 9 is so expensive. So I'm glad that they gave it more power because it just like requires so much to actually play to the point where you should just probably be staying at 6 and playing something else in the previous patch. Maybe now it is worth to go for 9 Forgotten. I tried it a couple times. I never won a game, but I got like second a couple of times. But I'm not sure if that was because either Draven or Vayne were really strong, and I would have gotten second place anyways if I stayed at 6. Now onto the Knight damage reduction. Knight are being buffed at 6 Knights. And yeah, no one ever goes this, so that makes perfect sense. Encourage people to go for it. Mystic magic resistance is being buffed at, I think this is 4 Mystic, because I think Mystics is 2, 3, and 4 units. So yeah, I've seen 4 Mystic a bunch. So right now, all the resistance traits are really weak because there's so much resistance penetration right now. If we just think about it for a moment, we have the God Kings, which Garen reduces magic resist and Darius reduces armor. And then we also have Brand reducing magic resist. We have Last Whisper. We have the Shadow Last Whisper reducing a lot of resistances as well. So for both magic resist and armor traits, they're all pretty weak because there's so much shred and penetration. I guess it makes sense I told you guys to lube up before. So Verdant crowd control immunity is being increased. Yeah, that's fine. I've never seen Verdant being used that effectively because 5 seconds at the start of the fight doesn't really help too much against these champions in the metagame right now. Now onto the champions. Tier 1, while not OP, Leona's excessive tankiness can be a barrier to fun. Okay, that one's pretty good. We're nerfing her damage reduction, but giving her some base attack damage to compensate. So Aatrox Deathbringer strike attack damage is being buffed at 1 star, buffed at 2 star, and 3 star. Oh, I always thought Aatrox was pretty good. So this is news to me. So I always see him like 1v4ing in the early game in stage 2 if you get a 2-star Aatrox with like maybe a random item on him because he both does a lot of damage and heals a lot. So it was pretty interesting to see. Wonder why they buffed it, but we'll probably find out later. So Leona, attack damage increase, damage reduction reduced. We already talked about that before. And then now on to Lissandra. So Lissandra is a key change because she was pretty good as a carry in the last patch. Her AD reduction is being reduced from 60% to 40% at 3 star. Her damage is being reduced at all levels. Both the primary and the secondary damage is getting like nerfed by actually quite a bit, like 20 to 25% for most levels. That is a pretty considerable nerf, I would say. She was really strong, but we'll have to, like, the thing about all these changes, you can't just look at one change and be like, oh, that's gonna fix the game, because so many different moving parts are out there right now that we have to like read the whole patch before coming to any conclusions. So now onto the Vayne change. Vayne is gaining 5 attack damage, but don't be fooled, she is getting nerfed everywhere else. For her ability, 90 to 65 at level 1, 120 to 90 at level 2, and 160 to 140 damage at level 3. So I'm glad they didn't touch the level 3 Vayne that much and did considerable nerfs to the 1 and 2 star builds because, yeah, they were too strong. 1-star Vayne was actually competing with a lot of late game carries for some reason, and that just should never be the case. You did need perfect items on her, that was the one caveat, but with the armory, it's pretty easy to get perfect items. Udyr, Feral Instinct, Tiger Stance, attack damage is being buffed at all levels. That's good. No one really played Udyr ever, and then Warwick is being buffed at 3-star, so that encourages maybe a forgotten reroll comp. That'd be pretty fun to try. So like reroll Vayne and Warwick, yeah, that I could see myself doing that. Leblanc's been shooting 2 chains like a rapper out of Georgia, so we're going to nerf her 2 times. Once in our B patch and another time right here. Like a reference to a below average rapper, a powerful Set carry comp recently popped out of nowhere, so we're intervening to remind Set that he's a 2 cost now. So Brand seer damage. Ooh, wait, why'd they nerf Brand at... Oh, they nerfed Brand at 1-star, buffed him at 3-star. I want to see Brand in the meta. He's a really cool champion. He has 20 mana, so he gets his cast off really quickly. I was thinking about some sort of maybe Shadow Morellonomicon build on him, but like I haven't really found anything that works quite yet. Essentially, the Shadow Morellonomicon does 100% of max health true damage over a certain amount of time, and Brand, because his spell costs 20 mana and he always applies it to a new target, I could see like a really fun build with like some sort of stall comp coming out into play. But like I haven't seen anyone like really make that comp out yet. But if you guys do want to give it a try, let me know how it goes in the comments. So Hecarim's starting mana is being increased by a lot. Okay, that's good. Hecarim's a little weak. So they're nerfing the 6 Forgotten trait, but they're buffing the Forgotten units. So the overall power level should be the same, except now Vayne doesn't completely take over games. So I really like that change so far. Leblanc Ethereal Chain Stun Duration being decreased at 3-star from 3 seconds to 2.5. Yeah, that's fine. I haven't seen that many 3-star Leblancs. There are some Coven builds or like Assassin builds that use it, but not as much as in the first week. Allies no longer chase targets as Syndra is tossing. That's a great change. Set Haymaker attack damage scaling is being reduced at 3-star. Yeah, Set 3-star was really funny to watch. I'm glad that people found this comp because a lot of people were complaining about Vayne, and then like people started playing different comps such as Set, and we never would have found out about Set had that not happened. Trundle attack speed increased, Trundle mana reduced, so yeah, I've never seen people play Trundle. Skirmishers aren't really a thing quite yet. And this with the Dragonslayer buff, maybe we see more for Dragonslayer. Viktor's Siphon power damage is being buffed at 3-star, so again, more forgotten reroll. Maybe that's like what they really want people to push for. And his shield also gets increased at 3-star. So we got 3-star Warwick, 3-star Viktor, both increased, or both buffed. So I really am looking forward to some Forgotten reroll. I'll have to really try it out. So tier 3, grab your glasses because this is where we go all in on creating alternative win conditions by empowering 3-cost champions. I completely agree with this. 3 cost, it's been a common like weakness of this set so far. No one really rolls on level 6. People roll a little bit on level 7, but that's really just to stabilize. So when 3 costs are not strong at all, people typically do not roll on 6 on 3-2. But now we are probably going to see that happen more often if these buffs are enough. So starting right off at the top, Katarina 650 to 700 health buff, and her dagger damage does a little more at 3 stars. So I think Katarina is a great unit, and I played her a lot with some success, and hopefully this brings her like even more to the forefront. I'm just afraid they're buffing too many of the Forgotten units, so that 6 Forgotten will still be really, really strong, because it's looking like that so far. Again, we need to finish the rest of the patch to really find out what's changed. Lee Sin health increased by 50, cripple damage increased at 2-star and 3-star, or sorry, at all levels. Again, Skirmisher is really weak, so this makes complete sense. Lulu Whimsy targets 3, 4, and 5 is being increased at 3-star Lulu. Oh man, I'm scared. Lulu, I think, is one of the sleeper OP mystics right now. So next up, Lux will no longer fail to cast her spell if her target ally was too far away. Friendship knows no bounds. Pantheon, Aegis, assault damage, attack damage scaling. I don't know if I said that correctly, but it's being buffed at all levels. I think Pantheon is actually really strong. He's super tanky because of his ability, and now they're giving him more damage, but I get it. Skirmisher sucks, so I'm just afraid that they're buffing it too many times. Like, as much as I want to see Jax being played, I don't want to see 3 players going for Jax every game. Morgana's Soul Shackle's radius is being reduced from 3 to 2 hexes. Makes complete sense. She is completely broken. AoE CC is always going to be really good. And when you can access it on a 3 cost and have really good effects with it with just a Guardian Angel, yeah, it's going to be pretty strong. Probably nerf it. Morgana Shackle damage is being buffed at 1 star to compensate, and Nidalee is getting a mana buff where she has less mana now, so she can cast quicker. And Nidalee bonus damage on her next attack after dodging and critting is being buffed at 3 star. So lots of skirmisher buffs, and you have probably 2 options for skirmisher carries now. You could probably do either 3 star Nidalee or a 2 star Jax. I like that they're adding both options. Again, I'm just afraid that with all the other skirmisher buffs, it may be out of control, but we'll have to see. So Nocturne Spinning Slash now correctly heals him, and he should heal a lot more now when itemized and hitting multiple enemies. Nunu mana buff, Riven health buff, and cast time reduced, and Riven does a little bit more damage. So damage on Riven I don't think ever really mattered that much, because she's more of there for CC, but I'm sure this little attack damage boost is all nice and welcome. Yasuo Burning Blade damage. Ooh, nice. Yasuo buffs. 3 star Yasuo especially. So we might see the bros come back. I want them to be back. He just doesn't have a brother in this current set. I don't know if they did that on purpose because of the naming conventions of the comps Yasuo is typically associated with, but he's literally just alone out there. So someone find him a brother and make a good comp with Yasuo. Yasuo Burning Blade stacking on hit true damage is being buffed at 3 star as well. So okay, yeah, a lot, like the 3 star Yasuo hopefully will be hidden like a truck now. Zyra Grasping Roots damage is being buffed at 3 star. So Draconic buff, so that's cool too. Draconic, it was super popular in the very first week. After the B patch, it completely fell off the map. I think it's because all the really greedy builds were really effective early in the set because no one knew how to play. But now that people do, and they spike a lot harder earlier and faster, Draconic just kind of fell by the wayside unless you got like a really, really good start for it. But hopefully now you can play it again. Because obviously Draconic's like the greedy trait that should be the most fun, in my opinion. The Aphelios changes are meant to be power neutral after the B patch nerf last week. Just make sure you're building some crit with your sword and bows. Draven's been looking good while being totally okay. With a little push into the spotlight, it's time for him to look good while also being good. So I've been feeling the burn on Draven because I'm doing a Draven only challenge, like on one of my accounts where I only play Draven. Doesn't matter what comp he's in, but he's going to be in my comp every game. And I have been struggling a little bit because like everyone's going 1 star Vayne and beating my 2 star Draven. Everyone's doing reroll Lissandra, beating my 2 star Draven. All the other 4 cost carries seem a little stronger, so I'm glad that they are buffing him up because that's going to make my life a lot easier on that account. So Aphelios bug fix, Dark Vigil can now critically strike, so now you can build Infinity Edge on him again. Before it wasn't that great because his spell did not critically strike with it. His attack damage is being nerfed at 1, 2, and 3 star, and his base damage is being nerfed a bunch as well. So that's a pretty sizable nerf. I thought they were gonna be power neutral after the B patch nerf. Doesn't power neutral mean that they nerf him before but buff him back now? Maybe this change here is good enough. I'm not really too sure. I didn't do the math, but yeah, maybe someone can figure out if this is actually like good for Aphelios or bad for him, because I don't think like this is that much more damage compared to these nerfs, but I could be wrong. Draven mana buff, instead of 50 mana, he now needs 40. Again, very welcome for me because I am doing Draven only on one of my accounts. Ivern ability power granted to Daisy on recast is now a flat amount of ability power rather than a percentage. And then Daisy's ability power bonus is being buffed at 1 and 2 star, and her damage is being buffed at 1, 2, and 3 star. So Ivern buffs. Interesting, because Ivern used to be broken, and then they increased Volibear's mana, and then Ivern wasn't that great anymore. It's a tough balancing act, because before everyone threw in Ivern and Volibear in every single composition, and then right after they nerfed Volibear, everyone never played it ever again. So it's either going to be really good or really bad depending on how early Volibear casts, which is kind of funny because we're talking about Volibear and we're talking about an Ivern change right now. But they are related because they both share a synergy. Mordekaiser max mana nerf is being increased, so it takes longer for him to cast. Yeah, Mordekaiser shouldn't be a Legionnaire carry in my opinion. He's just way too tanky for the amount of damage he does because it's ridiculous. He's just like smacking people with his axes all day, and you also can't slap him back, or you can try to slap him back, but it just doesn't do anything. Now onto Rell's Attract and Repel stun duration. This is being reduced at 1 star and 2 star. Yeah, completely agree. Rell is one of the strongest tanks in the game. Probably since the whole set's been around, even since PBE, because she just is Ironclad as well, and yeah, she has CC and she's Ironclad. What more can you ask for? Tier 5, the Kindred ability changes below affect Wolf's gameplay, not Lamb's or Spite's, which is Lamb's ability. Garen's God Lion's Justice Max Health Shield is being nerfed at 1 and 2 star. Heimerdinger is being nerfed as well. Yeah, Heimerdinger's an extremely he's like the default 5-cost carry. Like, you go level 9, you want to put in a random legendary to carry your team, it's gonna be Heimerdinger like 7 out of 10 times, in my opinion. Kindred Wolf damage is being reduced at 2 star, and Wolf's healing is being reduced at 2 star as well. So I never thought Kindred was that strong. It's mainly Lamb's ability that's really good. I never really pay attention to Wolf's ability. Maybe I need to pay more attention to it because apparently Riot thought it was too strong. But I never really look at what Wolf's doing. I only look at what Lamb's doing. Lamb is the person with the bow. Teemo's Cruel Infernal Souls Throne is being buffed at 1 star. Okay, we got some Teemo buffs. I'm a big Teemo fan. Especially the Devil Teemo. I don't use that skin personally when I play League of Legends. I obviously use the bunny skin, but yeah, I am a Teemo fan, so interesting to see how this plays out. I thought Teemo was in a fine spot, but yeah, maybe 2-star Teemo was what you really needed, but maybe they needed to put more power into 1-star Teemo. But let's get on to the item changes. That was a lot of champions. Hopefully, yeah, my mic is on, so I don't have to re-record this. All right. So items, I hope you still have your reading glasses around. Many shadow items that have steep trade-offs and low play rates have been buffed. And yes, the monstrosity can now summon voidlings at a reduced power. So we might see the Abomination build with all the, like, holy crap, this is a lot of changes. We could see the Abomination build with ZZ Rot spam again. So Chalice of Power bonus ability power is being reduced. Same with Chalice of Malice. So these 2 items were really, really good for buffing up any AP carry or Mordekaiser. So with Vel'Koz, like Karma, all those things, maybe some of the assassin builds with LeBlanc or Soraka carry or Lissandra carry, like this was just such a completely broken item that was bonkers. So yeah, glad they nerfed that. Dark Shroud of Stillness no longer affects a wearer. This is nice because now you can put it on anyone. Before, you could only put it on units that didn't really need their ability. This does make sense. Dragon Claw's magic resist is being buffed by a lot. Again, I talked about the resistances before. Too much shred right now for both armor and magic resist. Eclipse Cape Self Burn is now 2.5% of max health instead of 4%. So if you guys didn't know, this is like the Shadow Sunfire Cape. You apply Sunfire Cape to yourself essentially as well as other people. So that's the downside of it, and they're making it not as big of a downside. So now maybe more incentive to build it. Evil Giant Slayer renamed to Spectral Giant Slayer, and Spectral Giant Slayer penalty below threshold is now being removed. Oh, that's a pretty big change. So now it doesn't have a downside, is what I'm getting at, or is what I think it's getting at. And then Frozen Darkheart attack speed slow debuff is being nerfed from 50% to 35%. Regular Frozen Heart attack speed slow debuff is being reduced as well. Yeah, Frozen Heart's pretty broken, guys. It reaches 2 hexes right away with just 1 copy of Frozen Heart, so yeah, it's been pretty bonkers. Fallen Guardian Angel revive health is being nerfed from 80% of max health to 70%, and then Ionic Darkspark ally damage is being changed to 100% to 50% of their max mana. Also, Ionic Darkspark's ability power per cast is being increased from 5 to 10 ability power. So what I wanted to do, since they changed the name of Giant Slayer, they should call Ionic Darkspark like Ironic Spark, because it hurts both you and the enemy team. It's like kind of ironic. I don't know. Hopefully they do change it, because I think it'd be pretty funny. Locket of the... Oh, by the way, props to Riot, because I remember when I made the Set 5 preview, I complained that a lot of the items didn't have cool names. They just added like Dark or Shadow to it or Evil. It was kind of boring, but they added a lot more like differences for them, which I think is kind of cool. I haven't memorized all those names yet, but yeah, I'm glad that they added new names to a lot of these items. Locket of the Silver Lunari bonus resistances is being increased from 60 to 70, and then Sacrificial Gauntlet reworked effect. The holder gains 40% crit strike damage, and magic and true damage from their ability can critically strike. The first time the holder casts their ability each combat, they gain an additional 20% crit strike chance for the remainder of combat. This bonus is also applied to the ability's first cast. Each time the holder casts their ability, they deal 15% of their max health damage to themselves as true damage. So this is essentially the anti-Vayne change. So Vayne doesn't like completely abuse this item anymore. I don't like how they specifically target or single out certain units. I thought the interaction was kind of cool because it's like, wow, this is a really cool item on her because she didn't get the downside. But yeah, maybe there was no other way to tone it down on Vayne without just completely removing the interaction with her. But all in all, like, it's fine. Like, Vayne was pretty strong, obviously. But I just wish there was another way because I feel like making very specific changes is like just a weird thing to do. Sacrificial Redemption healed 20% to 25% of missing health. Sacrificial Redemption self-damage is being reduced. I always thought Sacrificial Redemption was completely broken. But I guess according to the data, it wasn't because they're buffing it. But it was always one of my favorite tank items and probably still will be because it got buffed. So it's like even better for people who liked using it before. Spectral Spear Shoujin damage penalty being reduced. There just isn't that many CC units in the game that could really make use of this, so I think that's why it's not that great of an item. Probably in a different set, this item would be bonkers, especially in like set 4 or 4.5. Titan's Resolve attack damage and ability power per stack is being increased by 50%, and then Unstable Zyra Portal that arise from summoned units are 50% effective. So it just chops their health in half or damage in half as well, is what I'm guessing if you play Zyra in Abomination comps. I still think it's going to be pretty good. Like, there's no way it isn't. But yeah, they are toning it down. Hopefully this is enough because I still think with 50% reduced effectiveness, Zyra Abominations are still going to be super, super good. Warmog's Sacrificial Armor health loss per second is being reduced from 100 to 60. So I did the math on this. I initially thought Warmog's Sacrificial Armor was horrible because you lose 100 health per second, but Sacrificial Warmogs gives 1800 health. Regular Warmogs gives 1000, so it takes 8 seconds to get to the point you were originally at, and this doesn't include things like lifesteal or any sort of healing. And 8 seconds in TFT is a very long time. Like, you think about Zephyr, that lasts less than 8 seconds. You think about Verdant, I think they just buffed for Verdant to get to 8 seconds as well. It's a very, very long time, and the gains you could get from that, from like not dying in the first 8 seconds, I think outweigh the negative. So I think now this item should be even better than it was before, and I think it was already good. Obviously, not every champ can use this item, so this buff does help the champions that like never even thought of using it before. But I think it's like, it should be really good on paper, because again, 8 seconds is a very long time in a TFT fight. Zeke's Bleak Herald ally attack speed reduction is being changed from 25% to 20%. Why are they buffing this item? This item is like completely bonkers. Like, it was one of the best in slots on Vayne. I built it on Draven before, completely bonkers. I think this is better than Rageblade because a lot of your units in the backline that you use as bait units instead, if they deal 200 damage instead of 300 damage in a team fight because of Zeke's Bleak Herald, you don't really care because your main carry is doing 4,000 damage instead of 3,000 damage because of this. Like, it's just a better Rageblade because you get all your attack speed right at the beginning of the fight. And I mean, who doesn't want that? Zyra Portal Void Spawns that arise from summon units are 25% effective. Oh, so Unstable is 50% less effective, and then Zyra is 25% effective. I thought they were both going to be 50. So that does change it a lot, because 25% effective is a lot less. Holy cow. Yeah, that's kind of strange. That's really weak, but it makes sense, because like that interaction's way too bonkers. So rank rewards. Rank rewards will now drop throughout the course of the patch. So if you guys got a certain rank in the last set 4.5, you get a little reward. You get one of these guys. They look kind of cool, right? And you get an emote. So now for bug fixes. Spell crits from Jeweled Gauntlet and Assassins will continue to work even if the caster dies. Dawnbringers will now properly die to large instances of damage even if their healing effect has yet to trigger. Lux will no longer fail to cast her spell if her target was too far away. Allies will no longer chase targets that Syndra is tossing. Oh, they already went over some of these. Revenant Revive available visuals are now properly removed once a Revive effect has been triggered. This was triggering me for a little bit because my Volibear dies and then like he respawns, but I didn't see it. He still has a GA like visual on top of him, so they're changing that now so it displays properly. Rell's spell now properly triggers Trap Claw. The Monstrosity no longer gains 100 bonus health at all trait levels. Heimerdinger turret now fires correctly in ghost armies, and units will now more responsibly recognize that Wolf has moved when he leaps to Lamb to heal her, rather than waiting for a second leap to recognize his new position. Staff drop boom has better sync between staff impact and damage numbers. Fix a bug where stacking multiple Ionic Darksparks only granted AP from one Ionic Darkspark, and Verdant no longer blocks the damage from Thrush's ability. Viego will no longer attempt to cast a hit on his target if its target goes untargetable as he reaches full mana, such as from Guardian Angel or Revenant. A big patch to digest here. Holy cow, guys. Going back at the top, I think Forgotten's going to be completely bonkers because, yeah, they did nerf 6 Forgotten, but it wasn't by that much. I think it was 80 attack damage and spell power to 70. And then they buffed literally every unit in the 6 Forgotten comps. So, like, including Draven, because Draven is, like, one of the big carry dudes, right? It's only really Vayne that got weaker, but in Draven comps, you never even played Vayne once you got to 6 Forgotten. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be playing, especially on my Draven-only account. I'm excited to check out if Abominations have a spot in the meta again. If someone figures out a brand build, let me know down in the comments. And we might see a lot of skirmishers this patch because pretty much all of them got buffed, and hopefully the 3-cost carries are viable. I've always liked Katarina as a 3-cost carry. Nidalee was really good during the public beta environment, not so much once it came out on live, but maybe those are the 2 comps that kind of revived the 3-cost carries as like a comeback. Same with Nocturne. Nocturne got a little change as well because he had a bug before. But yeah, really interesting patch. It's obviously like super hard to actually come to conclusions because like they made 100 changes that like, and one change has an effect on everything else, even if it isn't explicitly laid out, because it affects everyone in that trait, affects all the complementary units in a composition, and then all the counters it has, all the comps it counters itself, that all has major implications on the meta. And from what I'm guessing so far, like, I'm just spamming 6 Forgotten every game. Skirmishers, I think, might find a place, because they're, like, on the cusp before. They just weren't quite, like, super broken OP compared to all the, like, Vaynes, the Lissandras, and a couple other comps that I forgot about now. One comp that they did not touch at all is Vel'Koz. They did not touch Spellweaver, they did not touch Redeemed, and they did not touch Vel'Koz. So I am interested in looking at that. Obviously, they fixed the Syndra bug, because Syndras often ran with Vel'Koz, and I think Aatrox got a buff if you run him in Redeemed. So all in all, like, yeah, I think those are some Karma as well. Karma wasn't touched that much either. So I'm looking forward to play maybe some of the 4-cost units, such as Draven, Karma, and Vel'Koz. I'm gonna actually come out with a Vel'Koz guide really soon, so if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and subscribe below. And if you guys enjoyed this patch rundown, like, drop a like, because, I mean, I'll like you if you drop the like. So, yeah, there we go. So I will see you guys later, and yeah.